Carlos Alcaraz has been compared to the big three over the years. Often it's been said that he is a mix of the big three. Now, when Carlos was asked about this, he said, "I am not the big three, I am Charlie." And that's a good response, but I like these comparisons to the big three. So put number one on the screen, since Carlos Alcaraz at the French Open final yesterday has done it again. He's done things the big three did in the past where we were compelled to compare him to the big three. Number one, we start with the man who started it all, Roger Federer. The only players in history to win 5 Grand Slam finals in a row, their first 5 Grand Slam finals in a row. Carlos Alcaraz and now Roger Federer. Federer would get 7 before Nadal would end that streak. So he's copied Roger again with a major result. Let's go to Rafa, number 2. First since Nadal to sweep Monte Carlo, Rome, and Roland Garros. Very impressive. Let's throw another one in. This is even more incredible. This is maybe, what do you think, Beskar? The most incredible stat we've seen in a while. He's matched Rafa Nadal in this is a weird one, in fact. Alcaraz wins his 5th major, aged 22 years, 1 month, and 3 days. Rafa Nadal in 2008 at the Wimbledons wins his 5th major, aged 22 years, 1 month, and 3 days. That's just a weird one. I don't know. That's like some kind of voodoo. What do we even do with a stat like that? What does it mean?
Damn coincidence.
That's a damn coincidence. Good job, Beskar. I like the way you put that. Jannik Sinner on the, not Jannik Sinner yet, even though you'll see him in this next picture. Put it up on the screen. Novak Djokovic has been copied by Alcaraz in a major way. Only 3 men have saved match points in a Grand Slam final and went on to win the match. The number one would be Gaston Gaudio, and he only won 1 major, so we'll throw him out. Let's go on to number 2, Novak Djokovic, and of course he did it here. 2-all, serving 8-7, 40-15 for the match. Federer had 2 match points on his serve, and Djokovic ends up winning this match. And now today, Sinner, 6-4, 7-6, lost the 3rd set, up 5-3 with Alcaraz serving at 3-5. 40-love, 3 match points in a row. Alcaraz has now copied Novak Djokovic on a big one, saving match points in a final and going on to win that final. Very amazing. Only 3 men have done it now: Gaudio, Djokovic, and Alcaraz. Just for good measure, the longest match of all time. Take a look at this picture. Pretty cool thing to copy Djokovic on. 5 hours, 53 minutes in the incredible Australian Open final where Djokovic beat Rafa Nadal. That was the longest Grand Slam final in history. We now have the 2nd longest, and in fact the longest, at the French Open. Take a look at that picture. Alcaraz has copied the big three. Not with his strokes, not with his style, not with his mentality, but with incredible records that we will remember forever as tennis fans. Now, we're not going to leave Jannik Sinner out there because he copied, and there was a comment the other day. Someone said, "Matt, why don't you like Alcaraz more? He's so similar to Roger Federer. Why do you seem to like Jannik Sinner more than Alcaraz?" Well, maybe we can argue with these that Jannik Sinner has more in common with Roger Federer than Alcaraz, more in common than we all might think. Take a look at this one. Of course, Roger Federer in that 2019 Wimbledon final, he won more total points than Djokovic, even though he lost to Djokovic. And here we go. It's just one, but it's a strange one. He lost this match in over 5 hours, almost 500 points, or almost 400 points, excuse me. Sinner wins 193 points, while Alcaraz wins 192 points. Yet Alcaraz is the champion. Here's another one for good measure. Roger Federer in 2006 versus everyone, versus the field. He was 44-0. No one could touch Roger Federer. But against Rafa Nadal, he was 0-3. We go to the last year and a half or so. Sinner versus everyone, 91-3. Pretty impressive. He's got some losses. Federer didn't have the losses, but still, only one pesky Spaniard is messing things up for this incredible talent, Jannik Sinner. Sinner versus Alcaraz since 2024, 0-5, while 91-3 against everybody else. He has copied Roger Federer on those things. So there you go. Pretty incredible stuff there. Let's move on to something I like. Comments talking about how I was right. Of course, my prediction for the final was perfect. Indy Shepherd says, "Holy crap, Matt. You can pick him. I know it's after the fact, but I think Alcaraz does it in 5, but Sinner can definitely win it in 3. Pretty nice." Here's another one. The front man, 69. It's 66, but I prefer this number, 69. Great call on the prediction. Nice one. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, I can't take all the credit because my prediction was based on Sinner's legs falling apart. The Jannik Sinner chicken legs that we have seen in the past. They get cramps. Sometimes he's hitting the legs with the racket. and he can't win the match after we get past a certain time. Marion Bartoli, she said it was 4.5 hours, but we're actually going to look at the real numbers. It's even less than that. But Alex Obed points out here, by the way, he has a red circle next to his name, Alex Obed, so that means he's subscribed to the channel. So next time I read a comment, I might publicly humiliate people who don't have that red circle, because everyone who comments below should be subscribed to the channel. So please subscribe to the channel. It's rare that I say that, but do subscribe to the channel. Alex Obed said, Matt, the legs held though, and I think they did. I don't think it was Sinner's legs going out from under him in the 5th set. So in a way, I think it was Alcaraz elevating his play, lifting his level. So in a way, my prediction was kind of wrong. So I can't take all the credit on that. Alex Obed, he put another one in here, another one of those comments that I like. Matt, you're the only person I'd watch a video from after the event was already over. Thank you, Alex. Thank you very much. I like that. I like that comment very much indeed. But I had good reason to make my prediction saying that Jannik Sinner's legs were going to give out, because look at this. It is French, so we will have to read it in French. But these are the matches that Jannik Sinner has lost. Long matches throughout his career. He's lost all of them. Marion Bartoli was wrong. It wasn't 4.5 hours. It's 3 hours, 55 minutes. Jannik Sinner's never won a match that went past 3 hours, 55 minutes. Les 8 matchs les plus longs de la carrière de Jannik Sinner. The first one is a 5 heures 9 minutes versus Alcaraz. We'll go back to English for the rest. Altmaier, 2023 at the Roland Garros, 5 hours 26. He lost to Alcaraz in the U.S. Open 2022, 5 hours and 15 minutes. He lost to Zverev in the U.S. Open 2023, 4 hours and 41 minutes. He 4 heures 9 minutes against Alcaraz in Roland Garros last year. He lost in 4 heures against Medvedev, who also speaks French, Wimbledon 2024. 4 hours against Tsitsipas. He couldn't even outlast freaking Tsitsipas back in 2023. And he lost to Shapovalov 3 hours and 5 et 50 minutes. Shapovalov in the Open d'Australie 2021. But you know what? There's time for him to turn around, and he did better in this final. I think it's safe to say that his legs held up pretty well. Alcaraz on clay is just the better player right now and is able to elevate his game and take the win. So full credit to Alcaraz, and I take back some of how right I was in my prediction. There's time, there's hope for Sinner. Obviously, he's getting better into fitness. He took Novak Djokovic's physio and his strength and conditioning coach at the beginning of the year, so clearly those guys are doing something right. Sinner looks like he's lasting longer and doing better. Alcaraz simply too good. I don't think Sinner's going to lose next time he goes 4 hours plus with Tsitsipas. Don't think that's going to happen. And take a look at what Alcaraz did. He had never won a match down 2 sets to love before, and now he's done it. I'm sure he'll do it again. So these guys have plenty of time to get better at all sorts of stuff, and I think we're going to enjoy seeing that. And we'll wrap up this intro with this. Roger Federer once said that it's a shame someone has to lose this 2017 Australian Open final. And, it's a match where you feel like we wish both players could win. We wish we could share the trophy. Roger and Rafa should be able to share the trophy. Of course, that's not how it goes. But Charlie Eccleshare in The Athletic, part of the New York Times, he said this, put it on the screen. This is an article from the day before the final. Alcaraz, Sinner, and the French Open final that neither player will lose. And we go to Federer's quote. Maybe Federer read this article just like I did the day before the final. Federer said, there's 3 winners in Paris today. This guy, RF. Alcaraz, Sinner, and the beautiful game of tennis. What a match. And I think he nailed it. And more so than he realizes, because listen to the way that article finished. Let's read the final 2 paragraphs, starting with a quote from Sinner and then Charlie Eccleshare's editorialization on the match. Not on the match, on the going into the match. Sinner says, from my point of view, he's a player who makes me a better player, Sinner said in the news conference. He pushes me to the limit, speaking about Alcaraz, of course. We try to understand where we have to improve for the next time I play against him. And Charles Eccleshare says, there's nothing more helpful for Sinner and Alcaraz than playing against each other. So while only one man can win on Sunday, the rest of the ATP Tour will be the real losers. And I end the intro today with this, because Eccleshare is very correct. The rest of the tour are the real losers, especially the lost generation. Take a look at this excellent meme from ATP World Tour memes. In one photo, we have 8 Grand Slams. In this photo, we have none. So yeah, Sinner did lose the final, but in the grand scheme of things, coming out of the Big 3 era, these guys, neither one of them could ever be called losers, especially when we look at the lost gen, the true losers.
A, she was a hoot. B, she hit me.
Welcome to Coffee Break. Tennis all the way from lovely New Jersey. Beautiful New Jersey, the Garden State. Yeah, we have a new big two here in a sentence. Let me take a sip of the delicious beer. It is a big two indeed. I wonder, there was a big two with Rafa and Roger for a while, and then Joker came along. Is there going to be a third player to come along? Who could it be? You know, Joker was only 1 year younger than Rafa. Is there anybody out there who's just a year behind? Also, there is the age gap between Roger and Rafa. These guys are closer in age, so that's different. But other than that, it's the same because we got two guys dominating now, and you know, big three you can say is Djokovic for now, but Djokovic will only be able to keep that up for so long. Is there going to be another player? I'm curious about that. This is a little crazy. Let's put this up on the screen. Johnny Mac, he got carried away with the excitement of the French Open final. He said, this might be crazy to say, which I can confirm it is, but Sinner and Alcaraz against Nadal and Clay, I know he won this 14 times, but both guys would be favored to beat him at his best. Now, we played a clip of Gasquet on the Nothing Major podcast with Sam Querrey and John Isner and those guys. And he was saying if you took Nadal at 2006, and I think Nadal got better as the years went on, if you took 2006 Nadal and popped him in the draw for this tournament, he would have won for sure. So I don't know. You know, maybe both of those are wrong. Maybe 2006 Rafa wouldn't have been able to win, and maybe we need a later version of Rafa who's even better. Maybe he's the one that beats Sinner and Alcaraz. But I will say one thing. You know, I don't want to disrespect Rafa. I think John McEnroe did a little bit there. Of course, he got excited and carried away with the excitement of the match. But I will say this, in almost defense of what McEnroe is saying. We can put it in the realm of possibility because one thing that's different today is these guys have super teams around them. You know, like Sinner, I was saying, has the physio and the strength and conditioning coach that worked with Djokovic so long. He's got a former world #1 Grand Slam champion in Juan Carlos Ferrero. Alcaraz does, excuse me. Alcaraz has him. You know, these guys have these super teams. He's got Darren Cahill, obviously great coach for Yannick Sinner. So in the past, we used to, you know, this is kind of a big three era creations, having these super teams that travel with these guys all the time. They make more money than ever before, so they can afford to travel with this giant team. And, you know, they travel in comfort. They have lots of things going their way to help them reach a higher level than what was possible in the past. And we definitely saw that with the big three. That's really what changed it. Anyway, so that is a factor. You could argue these guys are hitting a higher level because we're able to build better tennis players. We have advanced in, you know, research on sports science, recovery, training the body to, you know, hit the ball better. So there are things that are working in the favor of these new players. But there's plenty of players on tour who have all that, and it's not making them win everything. So of course, Sinner and Alcaraz are unique talents. They are special, and that stands out. So I disagree. I don't think these guys are favorite to beat Nadal at his very best. But sure, maybe they could catch Nadal. They could beat Nadal at some point in his career. I will say that. Speaking of Gasquet, La Fenêtre de Gasquet, the window of Gasquet, I think it might be closing. I'm trying to think, who's going to beat one of these guys and win a major? Who's going to beat both of these guys potentially? You might have to beat both of them to win the major. Who is going to do that? I'm not sure. Only Djokovic, what I say right now, is in any kind of position to do that, and I would say he pretty much only could do it at Wimbledon or the faster playing Australian Open. Here's one thing we can talk about, though. Where does this rank in the greatest Grand Slam men's finals in history? Put this one on the screen. Borg and McEnroe 1980, Nadal Federer 2008, 2012 Aussie Open, Djokovic Nadal, Djokovic Federer Wimbledon 2019, Alcaraz Sinner, and this one. I think it is safe to say, because that they're putting him at 5th place, I think it is safe to say that this is a top 5 greatest of all time match. I don't know where to put it. Comment below where you put it. I don't want to put it above Wimbledon 2008 for sure. definitely won't do that. Because if you think about it, Roger had won 5 Wimbledons in a row, right? And Rafa, he'd won 4 French Opens in a row. They had met each other for 3 Wimbledon finals in a row. They had met each other for 3 finals at the French Open in a row. So, I mean, this was really building up. Roger had just gotten beaten pretty bad at the French Open in 2008 by Rafa. So there was a lot of excitement going into this match. It had implications for who, Alcaraz won, but I think he's still not, he's just defended points. He's still not number 1 in the rankings. Like Rafa would go on to be number 1. I don't know if it was immediately after this victory when the points hit or if he needed a little bit more. I want to say it was immediately, though. So it was a really big match, and Roger had been number 1 for so long and had been so dominant that when Rafa won this match, and it was on Roger's home turf, it was the king of clay versus the king of grass, and Roger was going for 6 in a row at Wimbledon too. So I'm not going to put it above that. I don't even know, and that's just looking at all the surrounding circumstances of the match, the backstory of what was going on at that time. Also, just the match itself, the play itself. Nothing to me is going to beat that match point Roger saves when he's running down, backhand on the run. He hits it up the line for a winner from the bottom side of the court on the TV camera view. I can't even see, I'll never forget that shot. I can't even remember what happened on the 3 match points with Sinner and Alcaraz. Federer, when he had the match points with Djokovic in 2019, I don't really remember what happened on one of them, but I do remember that he hit a cross-court forehand and came into net, and there wasn't quite enough on it. Djokovic was able to get over there and hit a forehand cross-court short-angle pass. So, I remember those, but now I can't really tell you. Don't get me wrong, I want to say one of them was a memorable, great point of those 3 match points Sinner had, but I can't tell you. Maybe that's my fault. But that to me says this isn't the greatest match of all time. So I won't put it above those. It's not even as long as the 2012 Australian Open in Borg versus McEnroe. I've actually seen it, but it's been a really long time. I probably watched that match almost 20 years ago now. So it's hard to say where you put it. I just think, comment below where you put it. I'd have to think about this one some more, but I would say it's definitely worthy of being up there with these matches as top 5. So I'll leave it at 5 right there for now. But what would another one be? Put another one in there. 2012 Wimbledon with Federer against Murray. That was a pretty good one. Federer getting a major for the first time in a couple years, over 2 years. That was a pretty exciting one. Murray trying to be the first British guy to win at Wimbledon in 70 years or something. That was a good one. That Kyrgios-Federer Miami match, 3 tiebreak sets. Well, that's not a Grand Slam. But anyways, that was a pretty good one. I'll tell you one that needs to be on there. 2017 Federer-Nadal Australian Open. That belongs on that list. That's the one I would stick there in the other spot. Anyways, here's my favorite comment. I love this one. There's a couple good ones on here. Gavin says, 34162, one day your channel will blow up, man. Best tennis channel. 46 thumbs up on that comment, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Scott says he has a great sense of humor. Diego says, yes, like the day that he got out the Serbian glass with the wine and talked some history. Yeah, I remember that. That was really funny, actually. This is my favorite, though. Second only to Gil Gross, but I enjoy Matt. I enjoy Matt way more than Andy Roddick, for sure. That cracked me up. I don't know what to think. You know what I mean? I don't want to be second to Gil Gross. I like Gil Gross though. I think he's good. He's a smart guy. He knows tennis. He definitely knows tennis very well. So a lot of credit to Gil Gross. But I don't want to be second place to him. I hope we both could share the trophy, like Roger says. I don't want to be runner up to him, but I sure love being better than Andy Roddick. Clement says, this sounds like he's being like me. His channel will be blown up. Is he joking? Like it's going to explode? His channel will be blown up. Are you kidding me? Says the guy who just said Alcaraz and Musetti will go 5 sets. That's stupid. This guy never gives Alcaraz credit. He's got the red circle. He's a subscriber. Sounds like he's mad at me. I give Alcaraz credit. I gave him credit here. I don't, my prediction was Sinner should win, basically. I'm saying, like, he can win in straight sets. Should be able to win, but his chicken legs are going to give out in the 5th set. And I confessed at the beginning of this match, I got it wrong. The team around Sinner has beefed up the chicken legs, and Alcaraz raised the level with his incredible talent, and he won the match. Dennis Daly, by far. Thank you, Mr. Dennis Daly. Let's go to another comment. Bada bing. Since the beginning of the show, when the music starts, you see, I wasn't going to say anything about the Sopranos stuff. I'm going to secretly slip and slide and hide in the video, but I'll acknowledge it here. The name Bada Bing, I don't know, I hope you noticed, but me and Beskar were at the Bada Bing Club. Anyways, no follow-up video following the final, Matt. I believe this is a follow-up video right now. Busy on the trip to New Jersey. Lots of stuff going on. So I'm slipping the video in where I can. Anyways, on Djokovic, ultimately it's up to him when he retires. He's still top 3 really at the slams now. I agree. Like I said, like there's a big 3 right now with Joker. I just don't know how long he can hang in there and make it a big 3. Like if he wins Wimbledon, he could walk away from the sport right there. He could retire. But yeah, if he wins Wimbledon somehow, or at least, gets in the semifinals or the final and has a good battle with Sinner and or both Djokovic, maybe beats one of them. Alcaraz. Maybe beats one of them, loses the other in the final. I could see something like that happening. That's really going to strengthen this position that Djokovic is basically top 3, part of a big 3 right now. But how long can he do it? He said he can win 25, but now everything will have to go his way. He can't come up against prime Sinner or Alcaraz in the final. Does he still have that motivation to hang in there and wait for the chance? If by the end of the year he's been smashed by either or he's losing in the first week, then he may just think, sod it all, I'm done, not going to train fully to get down to Melbourne. He has nothing left to prove and only 25 to chase. Time waits for no man. I don't have the comment here, but there's another comment that said, one thing we can be sure of, he ain't retiring. He ain't having his retirement ceremony in Australia. And I agree. After what they did to him in 2022 when they deported him from the country, yeah, Joker's, he's not going to go there and make it a special place where he retires. Going back to Alcaraz, let's go back to the final. Alcaraz winning in the end by elevating his level. Here's a stat that shows that. I don't remember how they measure this, but they have different metrics to go by for the quality of a shot. Forehand quality went down in the end for Sinner, and more importantly, it went up almost to the top. It went all the way to 9.5, and I don't know if you can see there, but kind of very small on the bottom. The average in the draw, so basically the tour, top 100 player average, mostly top 100 guys in the draw, 7.2. So Sinner fell below the average ATP forehand, and Alcaraz went way above it. And if we look at earlier in the match, now these are shots in attack. This is a little different, but who's on the front foot and attacking? This is like halfway into the second set maybe. Average for the tour and the draw is 25%. Sinner elevated to 32 and Alcaraz under it at 19. I mean, Sinner came out just like I thought he would. He's got a little more firepower. He comes out hitting big. Not much. I mean, Alcaraz hits huge. They both hit about the same. But I think Sinner, he can take the ball earlier and hit with a little more firepower. And he came out doing that, and it looked like he could have won it in straight sets. And that's kind of what I was feeling. I was thinking he might do it, but most likely Alcaraz is going to wake up and take up the level just in time to force it into a longer match, which ultimately Alcaraz is the guy who can handle a long match better than Sinner. Just look at those stats we showed earlier about all those long matches Sinner has lost. I don't think that's going to be forever. I think Sinner is doing everything he can to make the legs able to go much longer in long matches. And this will go to show you the end of the match, because you can see the numbers are still pretty good for Sinner. Like, look at these stats for the 5th set. And, they're pretty even throughout the whole match. But if we look at the 5th set, there's a couple things I noticed. Like, one, Sinner's hitting 17 winners on 11 unforced errors. Now, for the match, and this is typical in clay, both of them are hitting more unforced errors than winners. Not like a ton, but they are. And, that happens a lot in clay because it's harder to hit through opponents on a slower surface. But this 5th set was very high quality. +6 for Sinner, +9 for Alcaraz with 23 total winners, not forehand winners, total winners to 14 unforced errors. Sinner had no double faults. 5-hour match, no double faults. Pretty crazy. Excuse me. And he got 3 aces. He out-aced Alcaraz here, 3-1. No double faults. Alcaraz had 2 in the final set. Gets more first serves in, 60% to 58 for Alcaraz. Sinner is winning a significantly higher percentage of first serve points, 20 out of 25 versus 19 out of 29. So that's 80% to 66%. And then the second serve, Alcaraz is way up, almost 30% higher win on second serve. So like that's a number that jumps out at me. But this just shows you it's a high quality fifth set. They both broke each other one time. Alcaraz had an extra chance to break compared to Sinner. And this just, when you look at, usually like the guy winning the second serve number is the guy who's fighting better, hustling, moving around, winning long points a little bit better. And Sinner's doing better on first serve, getting more in, winning a higher percentage, not, hitting aces and not hitting double faults. But when it comes to the big points, Alcaraz is a little bit better, a little bit more fearless, even though Sinner did plenty of stuff. And speaking of the chicken legs, there was a point in that second set where Alcaraz hit a good drop shot and Sinner ran it down and got it back and won the point. That was a big point too. It was late in the fifth set. Sinner really needed it. So that was when I was sure, like, okay, Sinner's moving well. If he's able to do that 5 hours into a match, pretty amazing. Anyways, but going back to my point that, Alcaraz, they both were going for it. They both were hitting more winners than unforced errors, but Alcaraz obviously just a little better. And that's what it took. And I want to go to these quotes from Alcaraz about fighting because he did a better job of fighting in the end, especially saving the 3-match points. I mean, you got to fight to do that. Alcaraz says, you have to fight. You have to keep fighting. I mean, it is a Grand Slam final. It is no time to be tired. It's no time to give up. It's time to keep fighting. I think the real champions are made in situations when you deal with that pressure, with that situation in the best way possible, which he certainly did. Here's another one. I just believe all the time. I never have doubt. I'm always believing about myself. Even though it was match points down, I thought just 1 point at a time, keep believing. That's what I thought. And then I love this. He also said, I tried to think about Rafa and all the comebacks he made. Maybe the other stuff he said is what he's thinking in between points. Maybe this is what he was thinking on the changeover. I'm curious because I feel like thinking about Rafa, maybe that takes a little longer. That might get you distracted if you're waiting for the serve to come. That's when you say like, okay, it's 1 point at a time. Let's get focused. Let's keep fighting. Shut your brain up and focus. And then maybe on the changeover, he says, I tried to think about Rafa, about all the comebacks he made. When I was feeling worse, I had no more strength. I tried to think about Rafa and about all those comebacks. That's what he said. Let's take a look at this. Bad news for the field. The last 6 Grand Slams, we're starting a new Big Three-like thing here. Sinner, Alcaraz, Alcaraz, Sinner, Sinner, Alcaraz. Pretty amazing. Very even, just like in the 5 sets service games. Holding and breaking the same amount. They're 1 for Sinner, 1 for Alcaraz, 1 for Alcaraz, 2 for Sinner, and probably 2 for Alcaraz. I would say Alcaraz has got a great chance to go win Wimbledon, but of course I would not be surprised at all if Sinner can win it or Djokovic. Give Djokovic a good chance. Anyways, let's go into that Charlie Eccleshire article talking about how basically we have a new Big Two, and it's bad news for the rest of the tour. Hit the music because we're going to get out of here. Back when Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic were dominating men's tennis, a pattern developed. The more the big three played each other, the better they all became. Over 150 matches they played, they improved. They played again, all at a level everyone else in men's tennis could not access. Something similar is happening in men's tennis again, and the protagonists are Sinner and Alcaraz. Their level is already too high for everybody else, but to put them on the same court and things go stratospheric. With 2 of the big 3 retired and one of them, Djokovic, recognizing that his last matches are coming sooner than later, Sinner and Alcaraz have closed off an era of Grand Slam tennis that was supposed to be open. Just like Gasquet, la fenêtre de Gasquet, the window, it's closing. It's closing pretty quick. I don't know how long it's going to be open. Is Zverev going to get through it? Is Tsitsipas going to get through it? I don't know, man. They've won the last 5 Grand Slams between them, now 6. We'll skip ahead because this was written the day before the match. These two have never met before in a major final, but everything suggests it's going to become a regular occurrence. Sinner had to be at a computer game character best to beat Djokovic in the semifinals Friday. but the men's draw has felt like one big prelude to the meeting of a new big two. It has shades of Wimbledon 2008, when Federer and Nadal lost one set between them en route to a final that has gone down in tennis history. In this context, this match feels like a paradox, a Grand Slam final that neither player can lose. When it's over, there will be a champion and a runner-up, but in the big picture, this is just another piece in an overwhelming dossier of evidence that Sinner and Alcaraz take each other to heights that are far too high for their competitors over 5 sets. They have already become a pack like the big three used to be. Even if a contender gets past one of them, they certainly won't get past both of them. Beating Alcaraz took so much out of Djokovic at the Australian Open in January that he couldn't finish the semifinal before a possible meeting with Alcaraz in the final. Anyways, they've already blah, 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 blah. Medvedev beat Sinner in 5 sets at Wimbledon last year, but his quarterfinal win just softened him up for Alcaraz a couple of days later. This tennis rivalry is symbiotic. It appears that Alcaraz needs Sinner, this is interesting to me, Eccleshire says, it appears that Alcaraz needs Sinner more than the other way around. Sinner is so hyper-focused that the motivation of winning the next point seems to be enough for him, even if he did credit Alcaraz with making him more unpredictable after beating Djokovic. Alcaraz is wired differently. He's so sure that matches are under his control that sometimes he loses focus. He easily can bring it back when he needs it. Alcaraz said, "Sometimes we just think about myself," him and the coaching team, the coaching staff. "Sometimes we think about how I lost the set in the match, and we don't think about how he won the set. That's the difference," he said after wearing down Mazzetti in the semifinal. His focus does not wane against Sinner, who he actively enjoys playing against, like meeting the only other person who likes the same music or a fellow lover of obscure film. Alcaraz wouldn't be the first to need a rival to reach their best level. McEnroe was similar. When Borg retired in the 1980s, McEnroe was devastated. Federer has admitted that he didn't especially want a rival when Nadal emerged, but he came to understand how the Spaniard lifted him to greater heights. Navratilova says, "They elevate you because you have to play better," during a recent interview reflecting in part her 80-match rivalry with Chris Evert. "You have to be close to your best to beat the other one because they're not going to give it to you. In tennis, you can only play great if the other player forces you to play great, because you can only hit great shots if they force you to hit great shots." Great comment from a great champion. Alcaraz and Sinner can hit great shots against everyone, but it's against each other that they achieve greatness, taking each other to levels so high that their good is more than enough to get it done against the rest of the tour's best. Against Mazzetti, the number 8 seed and second most consistent clay court player this year, Alcaraz meandered his way through the first 2 sets, but comfortably won the match. Let's just throw that one out because Mazzetti was injured. Of course he would have won the match either way, but Mazzetti said, "I knew it even before stepping on the court that I had to play probably the best match of my career so far to win." For Sinner, the comfort he feels against everyone else is more pronounced. He lost 8 matches since the start of last year, 4 to Alcaraz, 4 to everybody else. Before meeting Djokovic in the semifinals, Sinner's longest match at this year's French Open had lasted 2 hours 15 minutes. It took Lehechka 55 minutes just to win one freaking game against him. It took 27 minutes for Andrei Rublev and also Bublik. Pretty crazy. And then finally, they of course wrapped it up with what we did in the intro. Or is there more to it? Oh, never mind, excuse me. There's a little bit more to it. Let's read this and then we'll wrap it up. "I knew before stepping court I'd play the best of my match, blah, blah, blah. Before meeting Djokovic, blah, blah. Compared to Alcaraz, everyone bar Djokovic seems to feel like a breeze to him. Casper Ruud, a 3-time major finalist, lost 6-0, 6-1 to Sinner at the Italian Open last month. It took Ruud 47 minutes just to win one game, and he said in a news conference afterwards that it was like playing a wall that shoots 100-mile-an-hour balls at you all the time." Anyways, that's enough of that. But you get the point. Like, he's right, Eccleshire. And this is a new Big Two that's extremely dominant, and it's going to be extremely interesting to watch what happens. I think Joker can be the spoiler, or the guy who beats one but loses to the other, or the only guy I'll say right now, who maybe finds a way to beat both of them and win Wimbledon. In just 20 days. 20 days Wimbledon starts from now. Who else? Do comment below if you have an opinion. I don't know if there's anybody else who can do it right now. Could it be Yo-Yo Fonseca? I don't know. He's 18 years old. Give him some time, maybe. There could be someone out there we don't even know yet. Is it going to be Felix Auger-Aliassime? Sorry. I joke. I don't know who it's going to be, but let's enjoy this. Could be a couple years of the Big Two dominance. Maybe one of them is going to have some issues. You know, it's hard to stay healthy in this sport, but I think you got a super team around you, it's definitely a lot easier. We will be back for Wimbledon. Like I said in the first video of this French Open fortnight, I will be more available during the Wimbledon. so I should be able to do many more videos during the Wimbledon, and I look forward to it very much. See ya! You ready to go?